Lawyers representing impeached Judge John Hlophe and the MK party will today present arguments in defense of his designation to the Judicial Services Commission. The Western Cape High Court yesterday heard arguments from the DA, Freedom Underlaw and Corruption Watch, who all want Hlophe to lose his seat. Newzroom Afrika's Malungelo Booi is following this case for us and now joins us from Cape Town. Malungelo, very good morning to you. It's such a fascinating case because next month the JSC is sitting to have those interviews, and one of the vacancies that needs to be filled is that of the Judge President of the Western Cape High Court Division. One of the people that are vying for that position is Judge Lynette Goliath, and we know the allegations that she has raised against John Hlophe. And the question is, should he be the one who sits amongst the panel that does the interviews?
Exactly, Aldrin. Exactly, that's at the heart of this, whether George Hlophe, or Dr. Hlophe as he's now called, should actually take a seat in the Judicial Services Commission when it meets in October and April next year. So this is what these parties are essentially arguing. They are saying that because Judge John Hlophe was found guilty of gross misconduct by the JSC and then was impeached by the National Assembly early this year, then it means that he's essentially not fit to take a seat in the National Assembly. In fact, these parties, or these three organizations, have argued that the National Assembly can't simply just rubber stamps the nominations or the names that it gets from political parties to send to the JSC, saying that the nominations need to be interrogated. But I do want you to listen to this part from one of the lawyers from Corruption Watch, saying that having Dr. Hlophe in the JSC would essentially undermine the entire process of electing judges in this country. Let's take a listen.
Dr. Hlophe's participation in any judicial selection process will severely undermine the dignity of the JSC and the public confidence in its assessment of whether judicial candidates meet the fit and proper requirement prescribed by the Constitution. We submit that permitting him to participate in the judicial appointment process as a member of the JSC, particularly in the upcoming October 2024 interviews, would then compel other members of the JSC and judicial candidates to expend considerable time convening and participating in proceedings which may lack legality if the decision to designate him to the JSC is ultimately set aside on review in our Part B.
Well, Advocate Thabani Masuku, who represents Dr. Hlophe, yesterday afternoon began to lay out his case. One of the words or the phrases he used was that these organizations were hounding Dr. Hlophe, even though he's no longer in the judiciary. He will continue then with his arguments from 9:30 this morning. Aldrin.
Yeah. Also, another part of this case for me that's fascinating, again, Malungelo, is considering that AfriForum has a separate case that is before the Constitutional Court as well in relation to this particular designation of a Judge President, former Judge President of the Western Cape High Court, and how the judiciary itself is going to deal with this particular case. Because essentially, this is a former colleague that they are judging on.
That's right, Aldrin. In fact, you could just see the judges that are actually in this in this case. There's about 3 of them that are listening to every argument that is being made. In fact, yesterday we also heard from a lawyer that is representing the other political party in the African Transformation. What they wanted, essentially, they wanted that this court should not hear this case until the matter in the Constitutional Court has been dealt with, saying that this issue is essentially a political matter also, and also suggesting that it should then be left to politicians to deal with it. But the 3 other organizations that want this interdict, saying that cannot be so, because this also affects the judiciary, which is key in upholding the rule of law in this country.
Thank you so much. That is Malungelo Booi joining us from outside the High Court in the Western Cape.